Alright, shooting with the Makey 33mm lens. I've got this thing set on aperture priority mode. Aperture set at f1.4. I'm using my Rode microphone that's pointed towards me. It's about 10 inches from my mouth. It's the one with the foam, not the dead cat. And because I've got the aperture wide open on a bright sunny morning, I've got an ND filter on. Hopefully that'll help with the brightness. It's set on 2 right now. I might need to rethink that. So I've got center focus turned on, so whatever's in the center of the frame should be in focus. What I'm going to do is use a 10% crop on this with Catalyst Browse software and see how it is for walking around. I'm holding it with a two-handed grip, no gimbal. Seeing if this is a viable option for run and gun videography when I'm out walking around a new place. I'm kind of leaning towards this one, but I'm also looking at my 15mm as well as an option. This is 30 frames a second, by the way. And because it's on aperture priority, the shutter is constantly adjusting for the lighting conditions. So right now it's 1/400. Let's see how it does when we get in this darker area. Need a higher frame rate if we're going to use software to smooth out. Yeah, the good thing about this lens, it's got some good background separation when you're filming something up close. You got the shutter wide open. See, look how blurry it is behind there. Alright. So I'm 1/200 on the shutter speed. So with that 10% crop, you got to be mindful of your framing because you're going to lose the top and bottom of the frame when this thing crops. So you don't want to get too close. And again, I plan on putting a 10% crop on this thing with Catalyst Browse. That way I can get a good apples to apples comparison. This is a hard shot right here because of the light in the background. So looks like the camera's going at 1/160 for shutter speed, and we're at the fixed f1.4 for the aperture. Seems to be doing okay. Not too bad with the ND filter on there. Alright, walking and filming. Makey 33mm f1.4. Alright, doing a little test here. Stabilization, ND filter test, microphone test, all of that. So, Currently, this is the Sony G lens. This is the 15 millimeter f1.4 aperture. I've got it in aperture priority mode. I'm set at f1.4, so that'll stay the same. Everything else will be automatically adjusted as we go. Looks like it's 1/400 for shutter speed, just standing still looking in this direction. The sun is in that direction too, by the way. I've got an ND filter on. I've got it set to number 2. And we'll see how it does walking around. I like this lens, but it's a little bit too wide for most things. And I almost prefer my 33 millimeter. Just for the simple fact of getting that background separation, that bokeh. So let's see how we do if we get it close to these flowers here. There's some shadow in it. Let's see if I can get out of there. There we go. I've got it on center focus. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but I'm going with a 10% crop. I'm going to use Catalyst Browse after I get back in the house. See how it does. Now that's from about 12 inches away on that flower there. Now we're looking in the sun. Very harsh. Shutter speed went up to 1/2000. Oh, now it's going back down. I'm getting shady. 1/500, 400. So yeah, it's dynamically adjusting the shutter speed there. You really need the higher shutter speeds when you're doing stabilization with the software. If you get down really low, it doesn't do quite as well. Again, 10% crop with Catalyst Browse. How's this look for run and gun? Walking around. Should be a little smoother than that 33, being the wider focal length. Just in the viewfinder, I can tell there's some good bokeh here. Not going to be as good as that 33, but still. And I've got this on center focus. Yeah, if you get really close, and I'm about 6 inches away here from that first flower you see in the front there, and it's got some good background separation, but you got to get really close. Also, with a 15 millimeter, people's faces tend to not look as natural. So there is that. Go check these out over here. Oh, by the way, I'm using my Rode microphone, the foam one, not the dead cat. Alright, a walking test across the big yard here. Mostly level, but not exactly smooth yard. But see how good we could do with the walking. I got a two-handed grip on this thing, and see what the software can do for us when we put it on the computer. Trying to determine if I'm going to take one lens on a vacation, which one should it be. This one might not be the best candidate if you're going to film a lot with people in it. Well, where you're up close and talking to them kind of shots, not like background people shots, but ones you would care about the appearance being distorted a little bit with their face, like in an interview situation, or as we do in our videos. All right. Six inches away on that one. And this is 4K 30. 4K resolution, 30 frames a second. F1.4 on the aperture, which is locked, and then the shutter speed's all over the place because it's adjusting.